Cat Stevens, Foreigner, released the 25th of July 1973. Now, over the years when I've talked to people about Cat Stevens and his music, it seems like opinions fall into two camps. You either love the man or you just can't stand him. Now, for me personally, Cat's music was such a huge part of the soundtrack of my growing up. First as a pop star, and then through his more serious singer-songwriter phase. And I was brought up in the same area of London as Cat Stevens, so I kind of regard him as one of our own. Cat was always a man who wore his heart on his sleeve and always came across as an honest and genuine person, and I really admired that. Back in 1973, after 4 massive selling albums, Cat Stevens felt he was getting into a rut and wanted to try something new. During the previous year, 1972, and touring the USA, he'd been listening to a lot of black music, particularly Stevie Wonder and the Blue Notes. With Foreigner, he wanted to try and incorporate some of these sounds into his new record. But he felt on the outside a newcomer to that sort of music, hence the title Foreigner. He also decided to record the album in Jamaica and produce it himself. When Foreigner hit the shelves in 1973, it was given a lot of negative reviews. But what I saw in the music press back then was it was very fashionable to dismiss and put the boot into artists that were successful. As far as I remember, it was only Circus Magazine from the USA that gave the album a positive review. Side 1 of Foreigner is devoted to the Foreigner Suite, 18 minutes 19 seconds of continuous music. The suite is made up of various short bits of songs and instrumental passages, somehow blending together folk, rock, jazz, soul, prog rock and reggae, and resulting in a glorious piece of music that still sounds fresh today. It just abounds with great melodies and superb musicianship from everyone involved. For Foreigner, Cat employed Ruth Austin, Tasha Thomas and Barbara Massey, 3 renowned soul singers, as backing vocalists. He also employed soul funk legends Tower of Power, all of which make their presence felt on the Foreigner Suite. Now on guitar, Cat used Phil Upchurch, another renowned soul legend. It's Phil's beautiful guitar playing that at 6 minutes 16 seconds into the suite leads us into the glorious reggae section. In 1973, progressive rock was in its heyday, and songs that took up whole sides of an album, even whole albums, were very much in vogue. For me, Foreigner, especially Foreigner Suite, was a very brave and courageous attempt by Cat Stevens to try something different. Maybe if the album had been better received, Cat Stevens might have returned to this longer song format. Now there is a live version of the suite on YouTube from an ABC special, and I think it's late 1973, and it shows Cat and his band having great fun, managing all the vocal and musical twists and turns, and it's well worth a look. Side 2 opens with The Hurt. You say you want to seek the truth, but it's hard to find. No one to help you, your friends don't have the time. So you ride around in your car, switch on the radio. You want to relate to something you once read in a book. What kind of way is that to take a look? With some lovely soul backing vocals, courtesy Ruth, Tasha and Barbara, great funky bass from Paul Martinez and those Tower of Power horns, it's definitely rhythm and blues territory. Now I always thought back then Cat had fantastic voice for soul and rhythm and blues. If you go and listen to The Hurt, listen to the way at 2 minutes 15 seconds the song takes a whole new direction. It's completely unexpected. Now I used to love the way his music could do that back then. No one else was doing stuff and sounding quite like Cat back then. And if you've got time, please go and listen to Buckingham Nicks' song Without a Leg to Stand On, and you'll hear pure Cat Stevens. Over the years, in the work of Lindsey Buckingham generally, I've heard a lot of influences from Cat Stevens, and in the work of John Frusciante from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Back then, especially on Foreigner, I think one of the people who really helped Cat try and expand his musical horizons was Gene Roussel. Now, for those who don't know, Gene Roussel is a musician, composer, record producer and arranger. If I were to list all the artists he played with and recorded with and produced, this video would run for hours. He's received awards for playing and arranging The Police's Ghost in the Machine, awards for contributions to the Bob Marley album Legend, and a Grammy nomination for Ashamed by Rick Ross, amongst many, many others. Gene started playing with Cat Stevens around 1971, and his amazing keyboard work is all over Foreigner. As Cat started to move and expand into new areas of music, I believe it was Gene Roussel who was invaluable with that transition. And anyone who saw Cat Stevens live in the mid-70s would have witnessed all the colours and textures that Gene brought to the music. Track 2, How Many Times? Even back in 1973, Cat Stevens was becoming disillusioned with the record business, the constant demands on him, the endless treadmill of touring and recording. I remember an interview back then where Cat said that this song came from all that disenchantment. The track itself is pure blues and features some lovely piano playing from Cat. Listening again to this record, I'm struck just how good an album this is. Track 3, Later. This track starts with a metronome sounding cowbell, soon joined by funky bass and eerie wah-wah guitar. Then comes the piano and strings. It's a song of pure lust and desire. Only one thing on Cat's mind, and everything else can happen later. If I'd have been the record company, I would have pushed for this song to be the single, because if it had been handled right and promoted right, this would have been a huge, huge hit. And why it wasn't, I have no idea. I want to feel your body close, maybe help you fold your clothes later. And surely this song would have been an ideal cover for a big soul star at the time. And why that never happened, I will never know. But it's a great song, and it's full of power and emotion. And so we come, sadly, to the final track, 100 I Dream. Now, I always think of this song being a kind of bridge from the Cat of the previous 4 albums to his new, more expansive rhythm and blues soul stuff. The song starts off like classic Cat, but as it progresses, it slowly gets more and more funky. The song lyrically is partly a protest song and partly reflects Cat's growing interest in Buddhism and meditation. Go climb up on a hill, stand perfectly still, and silently soak up the day. Don't rush and don't you roam, don't feel so alone, and in this way you will awake. It's a beautiful song to finish a beautiful album. Even though Foreigner was a top 5 album in the States and in the UK, Cat Stevens decided not to tour in support of the album. Now, I don't know why he did that. Maybe it was because of the critics' negative response to the record. I have no idea. If you haven't heard Foreigner, please go and give it a listen. It is a classic record. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you in the next video.